This story was submitted by a real person. The name has been changed, but what happened is real. I'm a commercial deep-sea fisherman. I've worked the North Atlantic for 20 years. We fish at depths most people can't imagine, 2,000 feet down, in total darkness. Last month, our nets brought up something that wasn't in any marine biology textbook. It wasn't organic, it wasn't from any known civilization, and when we cut it open, we found proof. Something lives down there, and it's been documenting us.
My name is Ray. I'm 52 years old. I captain a commercial fishing vessel called the North Star. We operate out of Newfoundland. 6 crew members. We do month-long trips, deep-sea trawling, cod, halibut, whatever's down there. It's hard work, dangerous, cold. The ocean at night is pitch black. The water is freezing. Storms come out of nowhere, but the money is good, and I love the sea. We fish deep. Our nets go down 1,500 to 2,500 feet. The pressure at that depth would crush a human instantly. It's a different world down there. Dark, cold, alien. Last month, October 28th, we were fishing about 200 miles northeast of Newfoundland. The weather was calm, unusual for that time of year. We deployed our nets at sunset, set them to trawl at 2,000 feet, left them down for 6 hours. Around 2 a.m., we started hauling them up. The winch groaned, the cables strained, the nets were heavy, heavier than usual. My first mate, Tommy, said, "We got a good haul, Captain. Nets are full." We were excited. Heavy nets meant good money. We pulled them onto the deck, opened them up, and fish poured out. Hundreds of pounds. But there was something else. In the middle of the pile of fish, an object about the size of a basketball, metallic, covered in barnacles and deep-sea growth. But underneath, you could see it wasn't natural. It was smooth, perfectly spherical, no seams, no welds, just solid. Tommy picked it up. "What the hell is this?" I'd never seen anything like it. It was heavy, maybe 50 pounds, cold to the touch, and it was humming, faintly, a low vibration, like machinery. "Some kind of probe?" suggested my engineer, Luis. "Maybe from a research vessel?" But it didn't look like any equipment I'd seen. No markings, no labels, nothing human about it. We brought it into the galley, laid it on the table, examined it under the lights. The surface was strange. It looked like metal, but when you touched it, it felt organic, like skin, warm now, despite being in freezing water. And the barnacles, they were wrong. Barnacles grow over years, decades, but this object looked new. The metal underneath was pristine, unscratched. Tommy grabbed a knife. "Let's open it." I should have stopped him, should have thrown it back overboard, but I was curious. We all were. He wedged the knife into a small seam we'd found, pried. The sphere resisted. Then suddenly it cracked open, like an egg, splitting down the middle, and something spilled out onto the table. Gel. Thick, translucent gel, like jelly. It oozed across the table, and inside the gel, objects, small objects, preserved. We pulled them out carefully, cleaned off the gel, and laid them out. 12 objects, and we recognized them immediately. They were items from fishing vessels. A rusted hook, a piece of net, a beer can with a brand from the 1980s, a boot, a watch, a life preserver with the name Mary Catherine, a ship that sank in 1997. These weren't random. They were collected, deliberately, from different ships, different decades. Someone or something had been gathering artifacts from the surface, from us. But that wasn't the worst part. At the bottom of the sphere, wrapped in the gel, photographs, dozens of them, printed on some kind of waterproof material. We spread them out. They were all photos taken from underwater, looking up at ships, at fishing boats, at cargo vessels, at cruise ships. Photos of hulls, of propellers, of anchors, all taken from below, from the deep. And some of the photos showed people, crew members on deck, passengers on cruise ships, fishermen working nets, all photographed from the water, from angles that shouldn't be possible. One photo showed our boat, the North Star, taken from directly below last week. You could see me and Tommy on deck working.
Tommy dropped the photo. "That's us! That's our boat! How?" No one answered, because we all knew. Something down there had been watching us, photographing us, collecting samples, studying us. And then Luis found the last item at the very bottom of the sphere. A small device, rectangular, with a screen, like a tablet, but not human-made. He pressed the screen, it lit up, displayed an image, a diagram, a map of the ocean floor, and dots. Hundreds of dots, each one labeled with coordinates. "What are those?" Tommy asked. Luis zoomed in on one dot. Text appeared, in English. Collection Site 47, Items 127, last updated October 27th, 2024. Yesterday. There were hundreds of collection sites all over the Atlantic, Pacific, Indian Ocean, marked with dates going back decades, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, all the way to yesterday. Someone or something had been collecting human artifacts from the ocean floor for over 60 years, systematically, methodically, studying us. "We need to report this," I said. "Coast Guard, Navy, someone." But before we could, the device went dark. The screen flickered and displayed one message in English. "Specimen collection complete. Study concluded. Return to depth." And then the sphere started moving. The two halves of the sphere sealed themselves. The surface became smooth again, and it started vibrating intensely. We grabbed it, tried to hold it, but it was pulling toward the deck door, toward the water, like it was magnetized. Tommy lost his grip. The sphere shot across the deck, rolled to the rail, and launched itself into the ocean, disappeared into the black water. We ran to the rail, looked over, and saw lights. Deep down, hundreds of feet below, bioluminescent lights, moving, ascending, coming toward us. I started the engine. We left, fast. We reported it to the Coast Guard. They found nothing. No sphere, no lights, no evidence. But I know what I saw. Something lives down there, and it's been watching us for decades. And now that their study is complete, I wonder what comes next. This story was submitted by a real person. The name has been changed, but what happened is real. I'm a professional photographer. Last month, my grandfather died. He left me his old camera, a 1975 Nikon. There was film still inside, undeveloped, for almost 50 years. When I developed it, I found 36 photos. The first 33 were from 1975, family pictures, normal. But the last 3 were taken last week in my apartment of me sleeping, and I live alone. My name is Alex. I'm 29 years old.
I've been a professional photographer for 7 years. Weddings, portraits, events. I love film photography, the old school way, developing in a dark room. The anticipation of not knowing what you captured until you see it emerge in the chemicals. My grandfather, Henry, was the one who taught me photography. He gave me my first camera when I was 12, showed me how to develop film, how to see light, how to frame a shot. He died last month, at 84, peacefully, in his sleep. At his funeral, my grandmother gave me a box, his old photography equipment, and inside was his original camera, a 1975 Nikon F2, the one he'd used for decades. I held the camera. It was heavy, solid, beautiful. And I noticed something. The film advance lever was wound. There was film inside, undeveloped. My grandmother said he stopped using that camera in 1978, switched to digital in the 2000s, but he never removed that roll. Said he'd develop it someday. Never did. I was excited. Undeveloped film from the 1970s. Who knows what was on it? Family memories, lost moments, history. I took it home, set up my darkroom, and developed the film. The process takes time. You can't rush it. Mix the chemicals, load the film into the tank, develop, fix, wash, then hang the negatives to dry. I waited. Finally, the negatives were ready. I held them up to the light. 36 frames, 36 photos. I started printing them one by one, watching the images appear in the developer tray. Photo 1, my grandmother, young, maybe 25, smiling, 1975. Photo 2, my grandfather, holding a baby, my father probably. Photo 3, a birthday party, cake, candles. Photo 4 to 10, more family photos, holidays, vacations, normal. I smiled. These were treasures, memories I'd never seen before. But then I reached photo 34, and my blood went cold. Photo 34 was different. It wasn't from the 1970s. It was recent, clear, sharp, modern quality. It showed a bedroom, my apartment. I recognized the furniture, the posters on the wall, the window, and in the bed, someone sleeping. Me. It was me. The photo was taken from the doorway, looking into my room at me, asleep, vulnerable. I checked the date stamp. The film was from 1975, but this photo looked like it was taken yesterday. I moved to photo 35. My hands were shaking. Photo 35. Same bedroom, same angle, but closer. The photographer had moved into my room, closer to my bed. I could see myself clearly, sleeping on my side. The date on my alarm clock was visible, November 8th, last Tuesday, 5 days ago. This was impossible. This film was sealed in a camera since 1978. No one had opened it. No one had used it. But somehow, there were recent photos on it. I didn't want to look at photo 36, but I had to. I placed it in the developer, watched the image appear. Photo 36. A close-up. Inches from my face. I was sleeping. My eyes were closed, my mouth slightly open, breathing. But here's what terrified me. In the background, barely visible, a reflection in my bedroom mirror. Someone holding a camera, an old camera, a 1975 Nikon F2, my grandfather's camera. But it wasn't my grandfather. The figure was too tall, too thin. The face was in shadow, but I could see eyes, staring, watching me through the viewfinder. And written at the bottom of the photo, in the white border, in handwriting I didn't recognize, soon. I called the police.
Showed them the photos. They were confused. How could film from 1975 contain photos from last week? They thought I was pranking them. They checked my apartment. No signs of break-in, no fingerprints, no evidence anyone had been inside. They suggested I install cameras, change my locks, be careful. I did all of that. Motion sensors, door alarms, security cameras in every room. For a week, nothing happened. I started to relax. Maybe it was just a weird glitch. Maybe I'd somehow double exposed the film without realizing it. But last night, I woke up at 3 a.m. to a sound, a click, a mechanical click, the sound of a camera shutter.
I sat up, looked around. My bedroom was empty, door closed, windows locked, security cameras recording. But I heard it again, click, from the corner of my room, near my dresser. I turned on the light. Nothing there. This morning, I checked my security footage, reviewed the entire night. Nothing unusual. No one entered my room. I was alone the whole time. But when I checked my grandfather's camera, the camera I'd left on my bookshelf, the film advance lever had moved, one frame forward. There was new film inside, film I didn't load. I'm developing that film right now as I tell this story. The negatives are drying. I can see one frame, one photo. It's me, sitting in my darkroom right now, developing film. Taken from behind me, over my shoulder. But I'm alone in this room. The door is locked. No one else is here. The photo is developing in the tray, and at the bottom, in that same handwriting, one word: tonight. I don't know what happens tonight, but I know one thing. Whatever took those photos is still here, and it's not done yet. I'll update you if I survive.